Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel Soul Journey. I have Kamaljeet over here and I'm Vani. We'll be going over the book Life in the Multiverse by Bapuji Dashrathbhai Patel, and we'll be discussing chapter 9. And in the book, Bapuji Dashrathbhai Patel is basically giving us his insights on our relationship with the multiverse and our relationship with the cosmos. So it's a very interesting book. I highly recommend you guys pick it up and just give it a read. But for now, we have chapter 9 by Kamaljeet. And hi, Kamaljeet, how are you doing?
Hello, Vani. Thank you for having me again. And I'm happy to talk about the book because, like I said, Bapuji is my spiritual mentor. And I look at this book as a very sacred. It is his divine vision.
Mm-hmm.
And through the divine vision and his presence, he has narrated the book.
Yeah.
So that is why this book becomes all the more important for everyone to read, because divine inspirations are rare. Not everyone can get this kind of an insight and vision. So chapter 9 is all about extraterrestrial worlds and civilizations in them.
It's definitely a very interesting chapter. The first question I had for you is, so according to Bapuji, does the extraterrestrial world exist?
Yes, absolutely. We discussed a little bit in chapter 8 also about soul journey and traveling to different dimensions, where I'm not sure if I mentioned about the pole star. There's Bapuji has mentioned about the existence and about little bit about the pole star. And this pole star, it's also known as the Dhruv Tara. In the ancient Sanatan scriptures. There is a book that is called Skanda Purana. One of the scriptures is called Skanda Purana.
Mm-hmm.
It talks about the inhabitants of this solar system of the pole star or the Dhruv Tara. It has a lot of luminosity and spiritual power. I mean, the inhabitants of the solar system collectively have a lot of luminosity. They keep on building on that, because of the power that is inherent in them. And they have celestial power, or we mentioned earlier that celestial power is also known as the kala, or the power of the soul, or the pure consciousness. So they have a celestial power of 7 to 8 degrees. And it is one of the most powerful solar systems. So there is extraterrestrial life there. So, and also, it has been well researched, and scientists all over the globe have been researching about various phenomena and ETs, life beyond our planet Earth. So there was this information that was released by the American Defense Ministry about 3 UFOs. And these videos were actually recorded in November 2004. I will just refer to my book. November 2004, and the other one was in January 2015. And by a pilot working in the Navy of, the American Defense Ministry had revealed about this. So he said that this was a classic case of UAP, or unidentified aerial phenomenon, where they were able to release these videos on the 3 UFOs. And then not very long ago, around 2020 and between 2020 and 2021, a former Israeli space security chief, Haim Eshad, has stated categorically that aliens exist. In a very important, it was a sensational statement, because everyone is excited, gets excited, when we are talking about aliens, something that is not us, something that we as common human beings don't seem to perceive or understand. So he disclosed that America and Israel are working and are in communication with aliens. He also claimed that America has created a secret galactic federation in association with aliens. And he mentioned that there were some cooperation agreements that had been signed between the American government and the alien species, including an underground base in the depth of the Mars planet. So where are these, these people, we may not know them, but these countries are aware, the governments are aware, and they have not openly disclosed. It is the information is surfacing, and recently I'm listening to some videos, and they said that disclosure will be soon. They are going to reveal certain things, and Ishad had also mentioned that the aliens and the American government have signed a contract that permitted them to perform experiments on Earth. Permitted the aliens to perform experiments on Earth. And so this is quite an interesting thing, life does exist, and they have been visiting planet Earth, even according to our ancient, Sanatan scriptures. It has been documented. The scriptures are always there. They were always there. They have been passed on. And in some of these scriptures, there are diagrams of, certain UFO kind of objects, flying objects, and it has been stated. So, yeah.
That is very cool. Yeah, things that our information is slowly trickling down, and hopefully more information is released about these UFOs and aliens. It's very interesting just because it's very scary thinking that you're the only species and intelligent life form in the universe. When you think of that, it's just us, then you feel so small and alone. But if you consider that there are other aliens out there, other intelligent life forms on different planets, it just gets less lonely and scary for some reason for me. Just like knowing that there is something else, other life forms outside of Earth, there's something bigger that's happening. There's more to the whole, to us than just Earth. There's so much more going on. Yeah, I find that very interesting.
Yeah, we are definitely not alone.
Yeah.
If one goes further down in the book, we will talk about the systems, the entire clusters of universes that Bapuji has explained diagrammatically. It is amazing the way he has explained, and scientists are only coming closer to, less than a fraction of it, because they are only able to talk about the visible universe, what their cameras can or their telescopes can grasp, right?
Mm-hmm.
They cannot go beyond that, but it will be gradually over the period of years. They will go beyond, but definitely there is so much more out there. We are not alone.
Yeah. The other question I had for you was, does he discuss anything about there being life on Mars?
Yeah, interesting about Mars. Is so close to Earth, and there is, of course, like as him, the person from Israel, the official from Israel had mentioned him, Irshad, that they have made a base on planet Mars. So, and even Bapuji has explained in Behad Gyan and many of his videos about life on planet Mars, how there were wars there, and how people went underground, and there is life in three-dimensional form, but in a tangible thing you cannot really see that, but it is totally destroyed. He has explained in detail about in as many of his videos. He has said that, and this planet is known as Mangal Grahe. Or it is the fourth planet in our solar system from the sun. And there have been quite a few scientific debates on this as well. But this in the books, in the ancient scriptures, known as the Shastras and the Puranas, they have mentioned that around 8,000 years ago, there existed a civilization on Mars, like as it is on Earth today. And people had a five elemental body, but the quality of those elements was much purer, and therefore it was much lighter. Our elements, we also are made up of five elements, but our elements have become heavier due to the impurities. And then there was this person, a Russian man named Boriska, young boy. He was born in 96, and he had memories right from his childhood about being a child from planet Mars. He has been explaining, and it is scientists were baffled because they said a child of his age cannot create stories.
Yeah.
And as when he grew older, he could explain much more, and he has explained that there was a very intelligent civilization there, and but then there were disasters, and there were wars, there were nuclear wars, and he escaped. People went underground, they were breathing carbon dioxide, and then he escaped the planet and was born on Earth. His soul didn't destroy there.
Okay,
So
so he got reincarnated.
he took birth on planet Earth. So this is another thing, and there's another very interesting story about one person who has been in for many years. He's been making videos on Gaia and talking about the entire cosmos and doing activities to bring humanity together. And he is doing some work was trying to open various portals. There were quite a few videos that surfaced about him. His name is Matheus de Stefano, and he's born in Argentina. He also had similar revelations right from his childhood. Parents couldn't understand, but as and when he grew older, he had a lot more to share. So there is evidence, of this kind of life. And this Boriska, the young man, the Russian boy, had said that there were people who lived on planet Mars were about 7 feet tall, and things like that. So there is so much that we don't know about. There's a lot that needs to be explored, and yeah. So he also mentioned that these people had very high technology. They had very high quality flying objects, and then aliens had invaded this planet, and they caused mass destruction there. The people were, they were under attack, and under nuclear attack, and life just went, they just died because of that. Some, like I said earlier, that they went underground and tried to survive. Then they were in three elemental form, like Bapuji has explained. So yeah, this is what it is about, what we know little about Mars. But one must read the book. There is a lot of detailed information in the book, Life in Multiverse. And after reading that, one must see the videos of Bapuji. They have more information in them. And you can tally, one can research on the internet. There is a lot of information out there as well.
Yeah, I think I was watching this video a couple of days ago. They're saying that there was a lot of water on Mars many billions of years ago, and it got evaporated, and then they lost the magnetic field that protects the planet from UV rays and all of the harmful sunlight and stuff. So once that field disappeared, the protective layer is gone. So the water evaporated at that time, and then maybe at that point life disappeared, or wars happened and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of information about Mars and their water and their life and everything. So that's interesting.
Yeah, they're still finding. I think Elon Musk is going to do a lot of work around that. Next, we don't know what is he going to do.
Yeah, that man needs to be stopped and controlled. Yeah, he's robbing people, and I just like I am, yeah, what he's doing is not okay. So the next question I have for you is, are these children indigo children, the ones that Bapuji is saying are reborn on Earth and have all these memories from their previous lives?
Like I said, Bapuji has mentioned in many of his videos. In fact, I will give you the links. We will share the links about his talks on Mars and star children, indigo children, where he has explained what is their purpose and why, how they were really born. So these souls, he has said that these souls are very, very intelligent. The indigo children they have some extraordinary capabilities, because one is that they will remember who they are. If they don't remember right away, but they will remember at one time, they will remember that they are from a different alien civilization. They do not belong to Earth. And the sole purpose of these children is to maintain, spread the purpose of being peaceful and being harmonious for the betterment of Earth. That is because they have gone through hard times in their own different planets, right? Like this child, Boriska from planet Mars, he remembers that there were wars, there were nuclear wars, and it was terrible for them. Survival was at stake, and the entire civilization was destroyed. So they want to share that information. And then also, like another thing which Bapuji mentioned, that star children are the souls who the moment they come from other solar systems onto planet Earth, within 60 to 90 days of arriving on the planet, they enter the womb directly. They do not, there is a very interesting thing that they just enter the human wombs to take form, to take life and birth here on this planet. It's hard to believe, but then there have been many. There have been instances even in the ancient scriptures and ancient stories, wisdom from all over the world, that these things look like miracles, but there must be something that is true, because it is being shared all over the world, in the same light by our ancestors, or whatever you may want to call them. And these star children or the indigo children have a powerful aura. The energy from that is emitted from their body, or their soul power, is very powerful, and negative energies cannot really impact them, because the aura itself is very powerful and it is well protected. So they have an ambitious they have a very strong drive to protect humanity, to save, to encourage lives, to do well, to be at peace with each other. They do everything possible. Like Stefano, is on a mission, just doing that, and he's been very explicit, in his videos about it. And in fact, China is said to have discovered about 1,100,000 star children who had extraordinary qualities. That's what is, they are trying to tap into this. And like Bapuji mentioned, that they do not take birth directly on Earth. They just come from the galaxy or universe, and then they are they're actually in the form of incorporeal, or the simple consciousness. That's the simplest way to explain that. They're just in that conscious state of being, as small as a dot, and they can be as small as a dot or the point of light. And in this way, they just then they form, these souls can be coming on this planet as a collective as well. They will form a sheath around themselves. They will, to protect themselves from negative energies. So they will travel as a group as well. And when they come to our solar system, so our solar system has the highest abode point, the light point, or the point source of all creation. Our solar system, that is known as the Param Dham. We earlier discussed about it. So they first come there because they are coming from other galaxies and other universes. So first, like when we go from one country to another, we need a visa to travel. There are certain documents we need. It is important, because that is something that will. So this is how they travel. They get together, they travel, they go to the ultimate, the abode of all creation of this solar system, that is the Param Dham of this Brahmand. And then from there, as a collective, then they come to the planet. They decide to incarnate on planet Earth, and then they take birth. So, but then in between coming to planet Earth, there are different levels of the field also, the different planes, the different realms, like they will come to Vishnupuri, Brahmapuri. Remember, we discussed all those.
In the beginning,
So they
yeah.
will come gradually, and as they are coming down, they get converted into, when they are on Earth, they come into as a 5 elemental body.
Yeah.
First they are just that unit soul, right? They are just in a conscious state, that point, and then the elements get added to it as they are descending from, because that's the highest point is the Param Dham. From then they descend. They start descending into the other worlds, and as and when they are descending down, their bodies become heavier. They become 3 elemental bodies, and they become 5 elemental on the Earth, on this planet. And so that is why it is said that the DNA of these star children will also reflect some very different qualities, very strange qualities it might reflect. So it will be different from the rest of humanity. So, but then definitely read the chapter about the star children, and in the book Life in Multiverse, it has a lot many. In fact, in the Sanatan Dharma, it has mentioned there have been many gods and goddesses. They have all been aliens. They are all ETs actually, but they have descended on Earth, incarnated on Earth for a good purpose when there were wars going on, between the negative or the demons. So the gods and goddesses had descended on Earth to save humanity, to save people. So all this is there. It has been mentioned in the Shastras, Hindu Shastras and writings. Yeah.
So their purpose, these Indigo children, is to help humanity and protect humanity.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
That's really cool. Is there life on the sun and other planets like Jupiter, Venus, etc.?
Yes, it has been mentioned again. I would highly recommend that reading this book, Life in Multiverse, is very important. And there is a lot of information out there in the, for the scientific minds to ease their curiosity to test it out. That there is a lot of information, that scientific research that has been done. And but based on Sanatan philosophy and the scriptures, for the sun, there is also known as a sun god, and in many other cultures and religions also, sun god has been named differently. But so sun god means he is the god of the sun, so he must be residing there. So there must be qualities, his body, the Agni element of his body, has to be very, very powerful to reside in that. It, for us as, human beings, we can't perceive that.
Yeah.
How is it possible? We can't, when it's a slightly a hot day, we can't bear that
Yeah.
heat. How is it possible to sustain life there? But then there are, because the body over there has those elements, has those qualities to survive there. So that is one thing that one has to understand, though science has never been able to prove much of this. But Bapuji has said that just like life on Earth, Sun and other planets like Jupiter, like Mars, we have already discussed, even Venus, also have life forms and civilizations existing on them. And there is again, like I'm talking about the scriptures, and like these are the Vedas and the Shastras. There is a Yajur Ved, that in which it is written Yatha Pinde Tatha Brahmande, Yatha Brahmande Tatha Pinde, which means as the individual, so is the Brahmand, and as is the Brahmand, so is the individual. So to understand, it means that as is the constitution of a body of the soul, so is the constitution of the environment of the cosmos. As is the cosmos, so the body of the soul. So it means that the microcosm and the macrocosm will have a reflection of each other, because as is the body, so its environment, so is the Brahman. So there is life. And so in all solar systems and galaxies, and even the smallest of the star systems will have some kind of life, may have, some may not have, but then because it is a creation out of consciousness, so there it is life itself. So that is, planets are created by souls from the subtle dimension. I remember talking about it a little bit, and we will, as and when we, go further in the other chapters, more details will be discussed about this particular, because this is the key of this book, the teachings of Bapuji. This is one very important factor, how life itself was created, what is our origin and our relationship to the cosmos, right? So like he has also spoken about the moon was created by the owner, the presiding deity, that is called the Chandra Dev. And in Sanatan, or later on got to be known as Hinduism, it is believed that human soul after its death on earth would go to Swarglok by first passing through the Chandralok. And even in the present time, many souls in three elemental subtle forms reside in this Chandralok, that is the moon, where we call the realm of the moon, or the Chandralok. And the planet Jupiter is also known as Brihaspati. This was created by the wise soul Brihaspati, who was the guru. Brihaspati is also known as the guru, the spiritual master of the deities. And he was the son of famed, a very famous rishi known as the Anjira Rishi. So these all they were there, and the Surya Devta controls the sun, so he resides in the sun. So the sun god and his entire family resides there. It's not only the sun god himself; he resides with his family. He's not alone. He's also known as the Surya Narayana Devata. And these souls who reside on the sun possess very luminous, they keep on producing their own power and light continuously. Their own, it is through through their own system, they are able to produce more and more power and light. They're able to generate and regenerate. So their body is composed of Akash Tattva, that is ether, and Agni Tattva, that is fire. And these beings do not get affected by the intense heat of the sun, since their bodies are composed of the Akash Tattva, Agni Tattva, and they are even capable of reaching to the center or the core of the sun without being harmed. So this is the quality of the elements of their body. They are just made up of these two elements, right? So in fact, there is a very interesting, it is documented that when America's mission of Apollo 7 landed on the moon on 20th July in 1969, it was broadcasted on TV, and there was something that happened, and NASA had to switch it off for about 2 minutes. What happened during those 2 minutes is a mystery. It's still not known, right? But they know that there's something I was just mentioning about that when you travel to a new country or a new place, you need documents. On planet Earth, we are traveling from Canada to any other country. Even now, America has asked for visas. You need to have a documentation for Canadians. Earlier, we could just travel with our passport.
Yeah.
And but now we need extra documentation for that. So there was another alien ship that was landing over there on moon itself, and something happened, and they had to make some changes in the plan. So the question is, do subtle dimensional souls live on the moon? What happened? Still, in fact, one or two of the these astronauts did mention they have not yet fully disclosed, but they did say, it has been documented that they were concerned, they were scared, there's something happened.
Yeah.
It was
landing on the moon. They were like, there is something here, and then the recording got cut off. And even with Neil Armstrong, when he was landing, his first words were not, one small step for man, giant leap for man. Those weren't his first words. He said something else in the beginning, which got cut off. And they're saying that they were saying something like that there is something here. What do we do? What do we say and stuff? But then that never really made it to the news.
Bapuji, with his divinity and divine presence and vision, has seen the time at which the Apollo 11 vehicle landed on the moon. Then I'm reading directly from the book now, how he has described it. So he has seen the time at which the Apollo 11 vehicle landed on the moon. Then at that time, there was another vehicle from Saturn planet which had also arrived on the moon. But the subtle souls living on moon drove away the vehicles of both from Earth and Saturn. As a result, they had to leave the mission in a hurry. On Earth, one needs a visa. See, this is what I was just sharing. On Earth, one needs a visa as permission to travel from one country to another. Likewise, even in the subtle world, souls have a rule of not allowing visitors from other planets. And however, Bapuji says now things are changing. Agreements are taking place between the subtle world souls and the residents of other planets so they can visit each other. There are many mysterious events happening in the subtle world which NASA does not express to the world. Means NASA is aware of it, but they have not expressed. They have not disclosed. But I believe a lot of, based on prophecies and what's happening now, they are saying that there will be a lot of disclosure in the coming months, and we'll get to know more about it. So, yeah, in fact, in one of his videos, Bapuji has said that, for souls from planet Earth, because of our power within the soul is so less, it is hard for us to even cross the atmosphere of the Earth. So that is why we must, through meditation and our meditative practices, we must enhance the power of the soul, get the power from the ultimate creator, because that's the powerhouse. So get the power in your soul, and so that you're able to travel to higher dimensions. Otherwise, souls are stuck in the lower realms. Yeah, so that was...
So the other question I had was, is it possible to understand the radio signals that are coming from outer space?
Yeah, they have documented various waves, and all scientists have documented waves, and they are not able to interpret it. They have penetrated the Earth's signals, Earth surface, and but they are trying to understand what and because the signals have were sent so many billion years ago, it's hard to interpret what's going on. And in 2015, Russian astronomers and collaborators at a nuclear institute of physics in Moscow detected an interesting radio signal with through a radio telescope as a part of search for ET intelligence. And they said this it has originated 94 light years before.
Wow.
So that is a lot. How can they, and if it originated so many years ago, what is the purpose and what can they do with it now? Because it is so old, and this led to the speculation that the signal may have come from an intelligent ET. But later on, any positive evidence about alien life was denied because they can't interpret it, right? They are not able to. But definitely, in order to establish communication with aliens, on Earth, this radio signals are sent to the planet. It might take so many thousands of years for the signals to reach. So it is still not easy. They're still far from it. There's research that is going on, and but the elevated souls who have immense soul power, like Bapuji, of course, is one of his own kind. There's nobody like him. It might be biased when I'm talking like that, but people who know him can feel there are many other elevated souls also who are in communication, and it takes seconds for them, less than a second, to communicate, because it is through the power of the soul that they are able to do it, not through the realm of the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next question is, are there any scriptures that provide information and insight into your UFOs, UFO spaceships and space vehicles?
Yeah, there is an Indian manuscript that is actually written in Sanskrit called as Vaimanika Shastra. It describes in detail about these UFOs and spaceships. It has got diagrams and technical details about the science of aeronautics. And yes, this information is there. Existence of text was revealed in 1952, also by one G.R. Josier. According to him, it was written by Pandit Subraya Shastri, who dictated it in the years of 1918 or 1923. And this Pandit, he received the information from somebody else. He received the information from a sage named Bhadradwaja, who psychically, telepathically, gave him the knowledge. So it's very interesting. See, like we said, it depends on the power of the soul. When you have soul power, then you are connected, because the ultimate source of is only consciousness. It's not the elemental body, it is consciousness. And if your soul power and you have that, your conscious level is very strong, you have the higher power, you are able to connect. And that is how this Pandit Shastri was able to receive that information. If supposing somebody is sending you the information that is available, but if your soul is not ready to receive it, you don't have the power to receive it, like you're not able to connect to the through your antenna, then you will not receive the information.
Yeah.
So you have to have the power. So the text this text, what this Pandit Shastri has explained, has got about 3,000 shlokas. Means it has got 3,000 different texts. The lines that have been written, and it has been distributed in about eight chapters. And he mentioned that aircrafts of flying chariots that have been described in the Hindu scriptures were advanced aerodynamic flying vehicles that were used by gods and goddesses. We have also we've discussed about the Vimanas in the previous chapter, by Vishnu and other deities. They were using all these chariots and flying objects. So Brahma could travel. There was a swan vehicle that is known as the Hansa vehicle, Vimana. Hansa, that was used by Lord Brahma to travel. So other than these, there have been many instances all over the world. There have been sightings of UAPs, or previously they were known as UFOs. They were spotted, and they have also said that in Area 51 they have got some things, aliens and UFOs, UAPs hidden up there. And one must go through the book because it does mention about certain elements. About let me read it from. If a UFO is composed of now UFOs are composed of very fine elements, and these are more pure, and they are able, because often they are not visible to the naked eye. We are not able to see it. We can see them only if they decide that we as humans should see them. So we may not see them even if they are flying around. We may not see them. So if a UFO is composed of 80% of three elements, or the subtle elements, that is the air element, fire element, and the ether element, and 20% of supreme elements, that is the Param Tattva, then the ones who are traveling in the vehicle would also have the same composition. Like that is how they are able to change and manifest according to, because the consciousness of the vehicle and the consciousness of the beings in between, they have the same elemental power, so they can collaborate and work. It becomes easier for them. So this is about it. And the Param Tattva, or the supreme elements, give the speed, a very high speed to these UFOs. They are also made like because it is made of these higher elements. It is also known as the Param Prakash because of the high quality of the element in it. So it can take very high speeds, like that can be higher than the speed of light. So for them, these vehicles can reach their destination in the trillionth of a second. Like I said, like it moves like a telepathic thought.
Yeah.
The moment you thought about it, it is gone.
Yeah. It reminds me of this quantum entanglement theory. It's like if you do something to so there's two connected electrons or whatever, and then if you spin one direction and the other one, doesn't matter how far it is, could be like millions of like kilometers or whatever, like years away, the other one will spin in the opposite direction. So when Bapuji and everyone, all these ancient gurus and saints, everyone keeps saying we're all one, we're all connected. So if you're open enough, you could receive those signals and feel like you're a part of something. But then if you're closed and if you're not open to all these things, you won't receive those messages. And powerful these one powerful sankalp, we were talking about sankalp, or the intention or the thought, would take the soul to its destination within the trillionth of a second. So this is how it works. And power and affirmation is proportional to the power of the soul. This is very important to remember, and this is something that has driven me, and it is
continuously reminds me that every moment I remind myself that, power of the soul is very, very important, and that's how you can um, move in the entire cosmos. Ultimately, our body is a 5 elemental body. It will go, and what is going to live is your soul itself, the consciousness itself. That needs to be powerful. Anything else doesn't matter. You take care of your daily life, whatever you need to do, but the focus should be getting the power of that is the purpose of being on earth. But we'll come to that later. More powerful the soul is, the more powerful the affirmation will be, thus making a soul to travel at a speed of imagination, which is multi-million times the speed of light. So yeah, we will, but this chapter is very, very elaborate and one should read it. I will not go through because then I'll be reading the book. So yeah, so definitely I would encourage, but I will provide the links, Bapuji's, videos wherever he has described. They might be in Hindi or in English, but one can go through the closed captions as well. Maybe, hopefully, it will be translated.
Yeah. The other thing that keeps coming up is crop circles all over the world, and what do they mean, and everything. So what does Bapuji have to say about those?
Yeah, crop circles are also made by these aliens. I will not discuss too much on that, but they have been pretty mysterious, and they have been observed quite, in various designs. There was one important crop circle that was of the design of a Sri Yantra that has, it is a sacred, design, that is from the Sanatan philosophy. And it is also called the sacred wheel. And this surprised everyone because it is so precise, it's geometrically so accurate. How can somebody do it, and why would somebody do it, And the aliens, the deities or the aliens, they want to show their presence. They want to remind humanity that they exist. It is not that they are trying to threaten or do anything else. But according to Bapuji, it is said that these wonderful and beautiful crop circles are created by higher dimensional souls who come from distant solar systems, galaxies, or the universe. And they want to prove their existence. They create these complex crop circles. And they want to remind human beings that, there are very superior forms of beings out there, and we are earthlings of 5 elements, but these divine souls with supernatural forces who create these crop circles have the body made of supreme elements. And they also possess instruments of supreme elements which are not possessed by human beings on earth. And it could possibly also answer how these ancient certain constructions were there. Humanity is still baffled about them, that how were they created? Probably something like that, because they have had high precision instruments which were in their own subtle elements, right? Yeah.
So I was also reading that Bapuji has some insights on pyramids.
Yeah, pyramids also. Bapuji said that these pyramids were, built millions of years ago. We are only saying that a few thousands years, we are talking about them. But he has said they were actually built millions of years ago, and they were there and initially built in the subtle realm, and then later on in they were being seen in their gross and the physical form as we see them today. There's an example, to talk about the subtle to the gross. In Mahabharata, there is a story that Lord Krishna was very worried about, he was trying to protect his people from an evil king by the name of Jasrant, so he built, Lord Krishna's city was Mathura, and he decided that he wanted to protect his people. And how would he protect them? Because this evil king would do anything to destroy them, to kill them. So he asked Lord Vishwakarma. Vishwakarma is the engineer. You know, he's a deity and he's an engineer who specializes in all forms of construction. So he asked him, and Lord Vishwakarma created a golden city of Dwarka with this sankalp, with thoughts. So it was built in the subtle form, and then it was converted into the gross element. And today we are seeing finding the city of Dwarka buried deep under
the water.
You know, rivers and
There's
oceans.
also speculation that it could potentially be Atlantis, but that's just
no, it couldn't. Yeah, because it is just next to Gujarat. So the state of India.
Yeah.
So one can see that how things have happened, but they're trying to find more details because it's so deep.
Yeah, the structures underneath. I mean, there's a full city underwater, and the statues and all those megalithic buildings and columns, all of that is still there, but it's just underwater now. And yeah, we're getting more information about them about that city in the last 2-3 years, but there's so much more that needs to be discovered.
Yeah, and they're saying that. Yeah, and they're also saying that about the pyramids, that there is a purpose behind them, and the truth will be revealed at the right time about these pyramids too. You know, about when the time is right. Right now, people have started seeing that it was probably used to send signals to outer planets. Probably it was connected to Mars. And according to that child, the Russian boy Boriska, that it had connections. The pyramids of Giza and Sphinx were connected to people of Mars. So he claims that to have an episode in the previous life in which he was the pilot of the interspace travel and flew over ancient Egypt in his plane. Boriska says that once the secret of Great Sphinx are revealed to human life on Earth, will change forever. So he's saying when the time is right, it will probably be revealed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, the pyramids are
definitely need. There was first like Bapuji has also said, these were created in the subtle elements and then took a gross form.
They also say that the pyramids were not built at the same time as the Sphinx. Like the Sphinx was built like much earlier than that, like maybe 100, couple of thousand years ago. I don't know, but then it wasn't made at the same time. The Sphinx was already there, and then they made the pyramids. And yeah, pyramids could potentially be a form of communication, or the way it's designed. They're saying it's not. Its sole purpose was not a tomb, but it could be either communication or generating electricity. That's another thing that keeps coming up.
Yeah,
because it wasn't designed to be lived in. So it had a purpose. Could be like a huge telephone.
Yeah, these were connect points of communication somewhere, even there is a similar story about there's a Kailash temple at Ellora, it is a very famous old temple, one of the carved out of a single piece of rock, and then how the Mughal king Aurangzeb tried to destroy it. But he hired about 1,000 armies to destroy it, but he couldn't do that. He tried hard for 3 years, But so there was something that was very special about this, that the technology and it was so sophisticated that one couldn't destroy it at all. It has the technology must have been far more advanced than one can even imagine.
Yeah, yeah, because the carvings and the statues there are very intricate and very detailed, and they're saying just with like basic tools for that time, it just wouldn't have been possible. They were using something else. We just don't know what.
Yeah. So this was all being constructed by the beings of the subtle world, and many times in many of the ancient scriptures have mentioned that the origin was a thought. The form of creation was the thought. So that's why we are also being reminded by Bapuji again and again that be
Mindful.
conscious of your thoughts.
Yeah.
The moment you think, you have created something.
Yeah. I need to keep reminding myself that.
Yeah.
The brain keeps going into just, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not this, that. And it's just like, even with my friends this morning, I was discussing, how just changing your perspective and like thinking differently can make such a huge difference, but it takes practice, and you have to be very mindful and aware of how you're talking to yourself and speaking to yourself. It takes practice.
Bapuji says that you are one single soul, has the potential of trillions and trillions of suns. So you can imagine the kind of power which we have not, which we are refusing to acknowledge. We don't believe it ourselves. That is the kind of power you all have.
Yeah.
You must wake up to that. And the best thing is that you can again remind yourself by using certain affirmations that I'm a powerful soul. I'm a creator. I'm indestructible. I'm a powerful, creative, spiritual, supreme being. Like things, affirmations like that are very, very important, and they will remind you who you are, and then you will realize it also. They say that a pebble lying close to the river will eventually, one fine day, you will find the corners of the rocks are being rounded off by when the waves continue to hit that rock. So continuously, when you remind yourself that you're a powerful soul yourself, you will remember.
Yeah. Need to practice that for sure.
Yeah.
And then the next question is, so Bapuji has shared that scientists are directly, indirectly inspired by aliens. I find it hard to believe. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is very interesting. Even I wouldn't believe all this, but immediate example, first of all, of course, it is not going to be in the book. It's about my father. My father was a research scientist, and he did a lot of research. He was a genetician and a statistician, and he was also a mathematician. He would try to do some research on numbers and all that. So he used to tell me often, and I like, probably because I was young and he wanted to tell me something, but my mind was not yet ready. So much to learn from him. And he said that, when I sleep at night, I sleep with a problem in my mind. Morning, I have my answer. And he would be working on it, and he would be writing his papers. He would get up early in the morning, write something. I never and he was always reading, and he wanted to do some research work with certain known scientists and all. There were many other things, but then he did a lot of good work. And that is one immediate example I can give you, that there was something that was impacting his mind, giving him the thoughts in his mind that what was the solution. He would do his calculations and whatever it was, And then, of course, there were other scientists like Indian mathematician Ramanujan. He was a famous Indian mathematician, and he has done so much work. But then he has mentioned about his Kul Devi. who would inspire him. He would get the solutions from there. He would be inspired to provide the results, and it was all through the inspiration of the Kuldevi.
Mhm.
And then there have been other famous scientists. Einstein has mentioned in a number of ways. Nikola Tesla, you will see his videos. He's talking about the supernatural, and he's talking beyond. He's talking about science in combination with all this.
Mhm.
It's not isolated. And then also about Stephen Hawking, because they definitely had their connections with the aliens. He was if you look at the life of Stephen Hawking, he was as a normal being. One couldn't function the way he was, and yet he did so much. So
Mhm.
definitely, there was a lot of work that is being done and transmitted by aliens, higher beings, for the benefit of humankind. All these people work to benefit the humankind, right?
Mhm.
So I think we are quite,
I
yeah,
have one last question, if we could finish
yeah,
that. So my last question is, the most ancient philosophy, probably there was no known religion to exist at the beginning. It was the Sanatan Dharma that was prevalent. There are scriptures that explain all this. What does all this explain? How, like, uh, so what does all this explain about life and the existence beyond death as we see it?
yeah. The Sanatan Dharma, I will answer this. I think this question needs at least about 30 minutes, 30 minutes of my space,
Okay.
time space. So
Mhm.
we will do this next time, but I will say that, the Sanatan Dharma teaches us that the soul is immortal, it is eternal,
Mhm.
and it is indestructible. So after death of the human body on earth, usually the soul will leave its physical body and go for a new life elsewhere,
Yeah.
right? And it has a new, it depends on its state of consciousness where it will go. It will also depend on its soul power. So
Yeah.
the purpose, and how can it gain power? It has to gain that power while it is on earth, when it has been born on earth. It has to work on itself as a human in this
Mhm.
human form, because we are able to utilize the five elements of the body and function and learn. And this study also goes into that. This discussion is also going to be a part of it, because we are learning from it, and it
Mhm.
is empowering our soul. It is telling us, yes, we can gain that power, right?
Mhm.
So the soul stays at their in their earthly form, in a subtle form, because of the attachments. Like when when we are born on earth, we have a family, we have children, we have our work, maybe we have built some empire of our own, or maybe we suffered, and then we are connected that, look, I suffered and my family is suffering. The soul doesn't want to go. It is, whether it is positive or negative, it is still attached. So as long as the consciousness of this soul is connected to the planet and the beings of the planet, it will not leave, and it will not grow, it will not evolve. That is one thing. Then there are other beings, there are other souls who are elevated, who have done the work, like you will see those rishis. And I will give one example of Sri Yogananda. He is an ascended master.
Mhm.
But I was listening to one podcast of Alex. He says that Yogananda told him that he doesn't want to leave the planet Earth.
Okay.
Normally when these souls, learn and they grow and they evolve, they go towards the Himalayas. There is
Mhm.
a special area on top of the Himalayas. There's a subtle realm that is called the Gyanganj, where
Mhm.
these knowledgeable souls and these sages stay there. They stay in something that is known as a gola, or a sphere of powerful divine light and power. It
Okay.
is above the realm, but it is still close to Earth. and they are all there, and some of these souls don't want to depart because they want to help. They have a function, they want to help humanity, and they don't want to go leave. But then there are other souls who want to ascend further, and they want to go beyond, and they gain the powers by their meditative practices, gaining the power from the ultimate creator, and they are sent to other realms according to as per their power. So we will discuss more about it. And definitely the soul is born, and there are certain cultures and religions that do not believe in reincarnation. Certain religions and cultures believe in reincarnation. They believe that the soul is born in a human body, and then once the body dies, the soul will depart, right? But there are some religions that they do not recognize that, and these souls are trapped within the realm of the earth, so they do not ascend. They are waiting for their creator to come and rescue them. At when there is a judgment day and the call is there, they will be rescued. So till such a time they are trapped. So but according to Bapuji, the times have changed. As civilization on earth is also advancing, there were certain rules and regulations that used to be there before, but as the times evolved, thinking of the people evolved, there were more scientific discoveries, things have changed, rules and regulations have changed. So likewise in the subtle world, earlier they said that when the person would die, the Lord of Death would come and take them, and decide their fate. That this has done so many bad deeds and so many good deeds, so their life is being marked, and they're sent accordingly to a certain abode. But Bapuji says, no, now that doesn't happen. Now it is all automatic.
Yeah.
It seems very funny, but now I believe it, because the more you understand life on earth, then you understand that probably it is true for the subtle realm also. He says it is automatically done, and souls are gaining more and more knowledge, and they are getting evolved, and their creators will come. We will talk about the creators. Their spiritual teachers can come, their families can come to take them. They all live in cluster groups, they all create a group of their family of their own, and these souls depart accordingly, and they will work together.
Yeah.
So, but let's talk about it next time.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing all the information from the book. And well, thank you for watching the video, everybody. And please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And we will see you for the next chapter in, I would say, a week.
Thank you for having me, Vani. Thank you. We'll see you next time for this last question.
Yeah, we'll spend some more time on that, and then do the next chapter.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thank